In a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is navigating a treacherous path marked by heightened tensions and shifting alliances. Recently, Rubio concluded a significant diplomatic mission in the United Arab Emirates, which coincided with the highest-level discussions between U.S. and Russian officials since the onset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. His meetings, particularly with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, underscored the delicate balance of power and the need for cooperation amidst ongoing regional conflicts. Rubio's visit to the UAE on February 19, 2025 included a tour of the Abrahamic family house, a landmark symbol of interfaith dialogue housing a synagogue, a mosque, and a church. This visit served not only as a gesture of goodwill but also as a platform for discussing pressing issues such as the ongoing violence in Gaza and the broader implications of the Ukraine war. The U.S. Secretary of State expressed gratitude to the UAE for its enduring partnership, emphasizing strong economic ties, defense cooperation, and mutual interests in regional stability, a sentiment echoed by State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce. The discussions between Rubio and Sheikh Mohammed were particularly timely as they came against the backdrop of a shaky ceasefire in Gaza, where the humanitarian crisis continues to escalate. The UAE's leadership has played a crucial role in mediating regional disputes and facilitating prisoner exchanges between Russia and Ukraine, highlighting its strategic importance in U.S. foreign policy. Sheikh Mohammed's remarks during the meeting emphasized the UAE's opposition to any efforts to displace Palestinians from Gaza, aligning with a broader international call for a two-state solution. However, Rubio's diplomatic engagements were soon overshadowed by his decision to boycott the G20 foreign ministers' meeting in South Africa. This snub, attributed to escalating tensions between the U.S. and South Africa over issues such as aid cuts and the country's legal stance on Israel, signals a significant deterioration in bilateral relations. President Donald Trump's administration has taken a hardline approach, halting foreign aid to South Africa and expressing disapproval of its legal actions against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Rubio described the G20 meeting as a platform for advancing anti-American sentiments, stating, "My job is to advance America's national interests, not waste taxpayer money or coddle anti-Americanism." As South Africa assumes the G20 presidency until November 2025, the implications of Rubio's absence are profound. Analysts suggest that this move reflects a strategic withdrawal by the U.S. from multilateral engagements, particularly in forums that promote diversity and climate change initiatives, areas the Trump administration has openly criticized. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his opening address at the G20, called for a commitment to multilateralism, stressing that the principles of the UN Charter, multilateralism, and international law should remain at the center of all our endeavors. The juxtaposition of Rubio's recent diplomatic efforts in the UAE against the backdrop of his G20 boycott highlights the complexities of U.S. foreign policy under the Trump administration. As the global political climate continues to shift, the U.S. faces increasing challenges in maintaining its influence and fostering cooperative relationships in critical regions. The coming months will likely reveal whether Rubio's traditionalist hawk stance can adapt to the demands of an evolving international order, or if it will further isolate the U.S. on the global stage. The outcomes of these diplomatic maneuvers will be pivotal as they set the tone for future engagements, especially in areas where American interests and global stability intersect. In a sweeping move that could reshape the landscape of U.S. military funding, the Pentagon has laid out a plan to reduce its budget by $50 billion annually over the next 5 years, marking an 8% cut each year. This proposal is part of a broader initiative led by the Trump administration to streamline government operations and eliminate perceived inefficiencies within the Department of Defense (DoD). As tensions with global powers mount, this unprecedented budget reduction raises critical questions about the future capabilities of the U.S. military and its strategic focus. At the core of this proposal is the directive from President Trump to the DoD, conveyed through Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, to achieve what is termed peace through strength. Robert G. Salesses, a senior Pentagon official, emphasized the need to prioritize military readiness and modernize capabilities. Key areas identified for increased funding include drone technology, submarine development, and enhanced military assistance along the southern border. Salesses noted, "We will do this by putting forward budgets that revive the warrior ethos, rebuild our military, and re-establish deterrence." The proposals come in the wake of a visit from the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE, a task force assigned to identify programs ripe for cuts. The Pentagon is now under pressure to compile a list of personnel and programs to be eliminated, with reports suggesting that the cuts could affect a staggering 55,000 employees. The Government Accountability Office indicates that the DoD currently employs over 700,000 civilians, making it the largest employer in the United States. Defense Secretary Hegseth has publicly endorsed these cuts, stating on social media that the Pentagon needs to cut the fat and grow the muscle. However, this rhetoric has sparked concern among lawmakers, particularly from those who fear that such drastic measures could undermine national security. A Democratic aide lamented that many of Hegseth's proposed cuts might jeopardize essential programs, stirring anxiety among Republican colleagues who have traditionally supported robust military funding. As the Pentagon prepares for these sweeping changes, the implications for military operations are profound. The focus on drones and submarines reflects a strategic pivot towards modern warfare tactics, demonstrated in recent conflicts such as the war in Ukraine, where drone technology has proven vital. Former Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley noted, "If you study Ukraine, you see a glimpse of the future," highlighting the importance of adapting to new forms of combat. The Pentagon's budgetary priorities, while designed to enhance efficiency, have sparked debate among defense analysts regarding the potential impact on the Army and overall military readiness. Dov Zakheim, a former Pentagon controller, cautioned that such significant cuts could lead to diminished capabilities, particularly if they disproportionately affect the Army, while emphasizing the Air Force and Navy. Analysts also warned that the financial commitment for initiatives like an American Iron Dome could escalate costs significantly, with estimates reaching upwards of $100 billion annually. The Pentagon's proposed priorities encompass a range of areas from nuclear modernization to cybersecurity, and include a strong emphasis on combating transnational crime and enhancing missile defense systems. The success of these initiatives hinges on ongoing support from Congress, which has thus far shown a willingness to back Trump's plans. As the Pentagon navigates the complexities of budget cuts and shifting military priorities, the coming months will be critical. How the administration balances fiscal responsibility with the need for a capable and ready military force will shape U.S. defense policy for years to come. With geopolitical tensions continuing to rise, the stakes could not be higher. And the decisions made today will undoubtedly have lasting implications for national security and global stability. As the political landscape continues to evolve, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination as Secretary of Health and Human Services is facing scrutiny following his Senate confirmation hearings that wrapped up recently. Kennedy, a notable figure in health policy debates, found himself in the hot seat as lawmakers examined his controversial views, particularly regarding vaccines. The hearings have raised significant questions about his fitness for the role during a time when public health remains at the forefront of national discourse. During the final day of his Senate hearings, Kennedy appeared before the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, where he was grilled on his past statements about vaccines. Critics from both sides of the aisle, including Democratic senators and Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who chairs the committee and is a practicing physician, expressed deep concern over Kennedy's vaccine skepticism. Cassidy recounted a harrowing experience involving a young woman suffering from liver failure due to hepatitis, attributing part of the tragedy to Kennedy's promotion of vaccine hesitancy. "It was the worst day of my medical career because I thought $50 of vaccines could have prevented that woman from experiencing liver failure," Cassidy lamented. Kennedy's responses did little to alleviate concerns. When pressed on whether he would assure Americans that vaccines such as those for hepatitis B do not cause autism, he sidestepped the question, stating he would do so if the data is there. This evasiveness drew additional ire from senators, especially as Kennedy attempted to pivot the conversation towards his broader health initiative, Make America Healthy Again, a rebranding of President Trump's campaign slogan. Compounding the political drama is a burgeoning measles outbreak in Texas, the largest in 30 years, which presents both a challenge and a potential reckoning for Kennedy's confirmation. In the face of declining vaccination rates across several states including Arizona and Texas, the outbreak has raised alarms about the implications of vaccine skepticism. As of recent reports, there were 58 confirmed cases in Texas, with experts warning that measles is perhaps the most contagious disease known, with one infected individual able to spread the virus to 9 others before showing symptoms. Kennedy's historical context adds another layer of complexity to his nomination. Born in the year that the measles vaccine was first developed, he has become one of the most prominent advocates of vaccine skepticism. This paradox places him at a crossroads, to either embrace the very vaccine he has long criticized or risk further undermining public health at a critical juncture. The public health community is closely watching to see whether he will leverage his position to advocate for vaccinations or continue to challenge their safety and efficacy. In an interesting twist, shortly after the hearings, the Department of Health and Human Services issued guidance affirming a binary understanding of sex, stating there are only 2 sexes, female and male. This announcement aligns with President Trump's executive order aimed at restoring biological truth to federal policy, emphasizing the biological basis of sex and its implications for medical and social policy. This guidance further complicates Kennedy's position, as it reflects the administration's broader agenda surrounding health and gender issues. As the Senate prepares to deliberate on Kennedy's confirmation, the stakes could not be higher. Should he be confirmed, he will need to navigate the delicate balance between public health advocacy and the skepticism that has characterized his career. The outcome of his nomination could have lasting ramifications not only for health policy in the United States but also for the ongoing discourse surrounding vaccines and public health strategies. In conclusion, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s appointment as Secretary of Health and Human Services remains uncertain as he faces mounting pressure from lawmakers and public health advocates alike. The upcoming weeks will be pivotal, as the Senate's decision will not only reflect Kennedy's political future but could also set the tone for health policy in an era marked by deep divisions over vaccine efficacy and public safety. The unfolding situation underscores the critical need for clear and informed leadership in health matters, particularly in light of emerging public health crises. In a significant political shift, President-elect Donald Trump has appointed Pam Bondi, the former Florida Attorney General, to lead the Justice Department, a move that has garnered considerable attention and sparked debate. This decision comes in the wake of former Representative Matt Gaetz's withdrawal from consideration amidst a scandal involving ethics allegations. Bondi's appointment signals a continuation of Trump's allegiance to familiar allies, as she has been a staunch supporter of his administration and policies. Bondi, who made history as Florida's first female attorney general, was elected in 2010, bolstered by endorsements from prominent figures like Sarah Palin. Over her tenure, she developed a reputation for her controversial stances, including efforts to challenge the Affordable Care Act and maintain Florida's ban on gay marriage. These actions, while framed as aligning with conservative values, drew sharp criticism, particularly after her office postponed an execution to attend a personal fundraiser, a decision she later apologized for. Her relationship with Trump dates back to his first presidential campaign in 2016, where she notably endorsed him over fellow Floridian Marco Rubio. However, Bondi's past has not been without controversy. An incident that raised eyebrows involved her solicitation of a political contribution from Trump while her office was deliberating whether to join an investigation into Trump University, which ultimately resulted in a $25 million settlement over allegations of fraud. Both she and Trump denied any wrongdoing, maintaining that the timing was coincidental. In addition to her legal career, Bondi has worked as a lobbyist for various clients, including the Qatari government, and has been a vocal supporter of Trump during his legal challenges. She defended Kyle Rittenhouse in 2020, describing him as a little boy trying to protect his community after he was charged with homicide for shooting protesters. Furthermore, Bondi has been involved in promoting Trump's claims of widespread electoral fraud following his loss in the 2020 election, a stance that has drawn significant scrutiny. As Bondi steps into her role as Attorney General, her leadership style has already sparked discussions about the Justice Department's direction under her command. Chad Mizell, her chief of staff, argued for the dismissal of charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams, framing the action as a standard exercise of prosecutorial discretion. This assertion aligns with broader concerns regarding the politicization of the Justice Department under her leadership. Critics have pointed to a troubling trend of prioritizing political loyalty over judicial integrity, raising alarms about the erosion of the rule of law. Amidst this backdrop, the Justice Department's actions have faced scrutiny, with allegations of unethical conduct and a departure from traditional prosecutorial standards. Former officials have resigned in protest of directives perceived as politically motivated, reflecting a growing chasm within the department and the potential ramifications on its credibility. As Bondi embarks on her tenure, the implications of her appointment are far-reaching. The intertwining of her political history with Trump's presidency foreshadows a Justice Department that may prioritize loyalty over impartiality, raising questions about the future of justice in America. The landscape is set for what could be a contentious era as Bondi's past, her relationship with Trump, and her controversial decisions come under the microscope. Looking ahead, the unfolding dynamics within the Justice Department will likely influence not only Trump's legal battles but also the broader political landscape as the nation grapples with issues of accountability and the integrity of its judicial processes. The public and political stakeholders will be watching closely to see how Bondi navigates these challenges and what that means for the future of American governance, in a significant turn of events in U.S. economic and diplomatic spheres. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has confirmed he will skip the upcoming G20 summit in South Africa. This decision comes amidst a series of contentious engagements and policy debates that have marked his early tenure under President Trump. Bessent, a former hedge fund manager and the first openly gay cabinet member in a Republican administration, was confirmed to his post just weeks ago, promising aggressive fiscal reforms and a commitment to address the nation's ballooning debt. Bessent's absence from the G20 is notable as it reflects broader tensions surrounding U.S. economic policy and international relations. His confirmation was met with bipartisan support in the Senate, where he emphasized the urgency of renewing key tax legislation set to expire this year, warning that failing to do so could lead to an economic calamity. "We must make permanent the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and implement new pro-growth policies," Bessent stated during his confirmation hearings, underscoring his focus on reducing the tax burden for American businesses and workers. However, his recent diplomatic endeavors have not been without controversy. Following a visit to Ukraine where he aimed to negotiate access to the country's rare earth minerals in exchange for continued U.S. support, President Trump publicly criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, claiming Bessent was treated rudely during the discussions. Trump alleged that Zelensky was unavailable for a critical meeting, which has raised questions about the state of U.S.-Ukraine relations under the current administration. "Scott Bessent actually went there and was treated rather rudely," Trump remarked, suggesting that the visit ended without the expected agreements. This incident highlights the complexities of U.S. foreign policy as Trump's administration navigates ongoing tensions with both Ukraine and Russia. The Ukrainian leadership, previously lauded under the Biden administration, now faces scrutiny as Trump has hinted at potential negotiations with Moscow, alarming Kyiv and its European allies. The implications of such a shift could be profound, particularly as the war in Ukraine continues to unfold, with U.S. military support remaining a critical lifeline for the beleaguered nation. Bessent's approach to fiscal policy, particularly in light of the national debt, has also drawn attention. He has expressed a need for spending restraint coupled with economic growth, a stance supported by several Republican senators who view him as a pragmatic choice to steer the Treasury through turbulent financial waters. He understands that digging ourselves out of our fiscal hole will require spending restraint, said Senator Chuck Grassley, emphasizing the need for a balanced approach to fiscal responsibility. As Hegseth prepares to implement his agenda both domestically and internationally, the coming months will be pivotal. His absence from the G20 may signal a retreat from multilateral engagement, potentially reshaping America's economic diplomacy. The administration's strategies regarding tax reform, federal spending, and international relations will continue to be closely monitored as they unfold, particularly as the nation approaches critical deadlines for fiscal policy renewal. Looking ahead, the intersection of Hegseth's fiscal strategies and the evolving geopolitical landscape will be crucial for both the U.S. economy and its standing in the global arena. As the administration's policies take shape, stakeholders from various sectors will be keenly watching for indications of how these developments will impact both American citizens and international partnerships. In a significant shift in leadership that signals the emergence of a new dynasty on Wall Street, Howard Lutnick has appointed his sons Brandon and Kyle Lutnick to top positions at Cantor Fitzgerald, the financial firm he has helmed for over 3 decades. Brandon, aged 27, now serves as CEO and chairman, while 28-year-old Kyle takes on the role of executive vice chairman. This move not only highlights a generational transition but also underscores the family's deepening influence in the financial sector, particularly in the burgeoning cryptocurrency space. The Lutnick family's ascendancy comes at a time when Howard Lutnick has stepped away from daily operations at Cantor Fitzgerald to assume his new role as the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, a position confirmed by the Senate after a narrow 51-45 vote. His appointment has raised eyebrows due to concerns over potential conflicts of interest, however. Lutnick has been vocal in denying any allegations of impropriety regarding his business dealings during the Trump transition team. Brandon and Kyle's appointments to their father's firm come as Cantor Fitzgerald prepares to navigate a complex landscape, particularly with Howard's new responsibilities that might impact the firm's dealings in trade and tariffs. The Lutnicks are expected to continue their father's legacy while pushing the company further into innovative sectors, including cryptocurrencies, where Cantor has positioned itself as a key player through its partnership with Tether Holdings Ltd. The Lutnick brothers' backgrounds reflect a blend of finance and creative endeavors that could appeal to a new generation of investors. Brandon has accumulated experience in corporate strategy and trading, while Kyle has dabbled in music and entertainment, even releasing tracks under his stage name, KXTZ. Their unique perspectives could enhance Cantor Fitzgerald's approach as it seeks to differentiate itself in a crowded market dominated by larger banks. Howard Lutnick's tenure at Cantor Fitzgerald has been marked by resilience and strategic acumen, especially following the tragic events of September 11, 2001, which claimed a significant portion of the firm's workforce. Under his leadership, the company has thrived even as it adopted a more aggressive approach in markets shunned by competitors. As the firm looks to the future, analysts anticipate that the Lutnick brothers will prioritize innovation and expansion, particularly in areas like special-purpose acquisition companies, SPACs, and cryptocurrency. The Lutnick family's control over Cantor Fitzgerald, which boasts a workforce of over 14,000 employees, signifies a return to a more familial structure in a sector that has increasingly touted meritocracy. While the industry has evolved, the Lutnick's rise is reminiscent of past generations where leadership was often handed down within prominent families. This transition also highlights the growing acceptance of cryptocurrency within traditional finance, with Cantor Fitzgerald aiming to leverage its existing relationships to capitalize on this trend. In the wake of these appointments, the broader implications for the financial landscape are considerable. The Lutnick brothers are poised to shape Cantor Fitzgerald's trajectory, potentially steering it towards new opportunities while maintaining its core values. As they embark on this journey, industry observers will undoubtedly be watching closely to see how they navigate the complexities of both the market and their father's legacy. With the Lutnick family at the helm, Cantor Fitzgerald is set to embark on a new chapter, one that could redefine its identity and influence in the rapidly evolving world of finance. As Brandon and Kyle take the reins, Their leadership will likely be a focal point in discussions about the future of the firm and the broader implications for Wall Street.